I like to call my works endeavors. And the current endeavor that I've been obsessing with since maybe 4 years now is diving through Europe. One day I took the train from Berlin to Prague to visit my grandmother, and I looked out of the window to the left and there was a river. I think it must have been the river Elbe. And then I thought a little more about the rivers in Europe, and I realized, oh man, this is really interesting. This is a real strength of Europe as opposed to the American continent, is that there is this immense density of civilization here. I mean, really layer upon layer of history of civilization, and you have a lot of it is history of violence, but then you also have stories of fables and sagas, legends, beliefs of what happens underneath the river surface. So I felt like I was onto something with like scuba diving in these rivers, and then I found the river connection that connects the North Sea all the way to the Black Sea. And then I thought, how much time do I need for that? So I thought 25, 30 years or something would be a good frame. Because I want to do this journey more following an artistic rhythm rather than, let's say, a record-breaking athletic rhythm or a rhythm of economy where you try to get your goods from A to B as quickly as possible. Yeah, so I started training, and then 3 years later I started my big dive. I mean, there are always dangers accompanying this project, but I had to stop preparing for it. I had to just do it eventually, because there is no way you can ultimately prepare for something that nobody has ever done before, you know? The way I'm going about this endeavor is that I kind of give myself over to these experiences, and then I use the situation and the experience kind of as raw material that I then still shape into a narrative or images or a film and so forth, depending on what medium suits the best in that moment. And at the core of the project, the way I see it, is my YouTube series, which basically it's you can imagine like a pearl necklace, right? Like I have this encounter on shore or on the surface of the water. I dive in, I disappear, I come up again, something happens, down again, up again. And so that way I can resolve, I think, this immense density of topics that I am and will encounter in Europe. And I chose YouTube because I think it corresponds pretty well with diving through Europe. You know, there's just this huge mass of just morass and chaos and dirt, and it's like publicly accessible but somehow privatized for one part already with these attempts, and it's just a mess, you know, it's wild. And so it really reminds me on the way these rivers are behaving to me. The reason why I'm actually doing it is that reality surprises me with so many scenarios and encounters that you just can't make them up in your mind. They are so fantastic. I mean, they are multiple of what anybody can imagine. And then also, in addition to that, I think that for the viewer or whoever sees images from that or hears story of it, if they look at it and at the same time they know there is somebody actually doing that, it opens up bigger spaces in the imagination. I think that the perceptions of the world are getting more and more homogenized and really shoved down our throat in a way that really narrows the values. To me, it's like a core characteristics of how to be an artist in this world rather than just how to make artistic activities. There's a big difference, you know. And how can you be in this world as an artist? What can you bring into the world and add to the world as an artist that's significant? And I think to defend worlds of imagination is very important. I put those stories and images out there, and I think if they can accompany somebody and inspire them to come up with their own, that's already more than I can hope for. But it has to come by free choice. I mean, I won't tell people what to think or how to understand the piece. Depending who you are, then you make something out of it, I guess.